The story begins at the Xing Financial Building, where Yang Chen works. Frustrated, he asks his boss why he isn't credited for the project or getting his commission. The boss coldly replies that everything employees do belongs to the company, and the company listens to him. Our boy clenches his fists and storms out of the office, saying that working for this company is a waste of time. He heads to his desk and starts packing his things. His colleagues try to stop him. One of them reminded that the boss has power, while another asks how he'll support his girlfriend with her paralyzed father. Yang looks at the framed photo of him and his girlfriend smiling happily, but he tells them he'll use the house and car his late parents left him and work as a taxi driver until he finds another job. Since no one could stop him, Yang heads to the parking lot. Our boy almost walked to the car when he received a new message from his girlfriend saying she's breaking up with him to follow her dreams. Shocked, he tries to call her, but her number is unavailable. Our boy feels heartbroken, wondering why this happened to him. But he pulls himself together and decides to move on. He cleans his car until it shines and starts working as a taxi driver. His first order arrives immediately, asking him to reach the pickup location as soon as possible. Our boy drives fast to get there as quickly as possible and calls the passenger upon arrival. A woman answers, saying she needs 20 more minutes to get ready. Our boy loses his temper and asks why she didn't call the taxi when she was ready, to which she hears as a threat. She says if he cancels the order, she'll file a complaint. But our boy is not a coward and says, "Do whatever you want and cancel the order." As soon as he finished the call, our boy gets a notification about a complaint against him. Suddenly, a beautiful girl in a revealing Chinese-style dress appears in the car right in front of him. She explains that he has met the conditions to connect to a special system. Surprised? The girl smiles and tells him that once connected, he'll earn rewards for every bad review he gets. Our boy says he's never heard of rewards for bad reviews, but the girl asks for his permission to connect with the system. Yang quickly agrees and the girl kisses him lightly and says the connection is complete. She adds that to earn rewards, he needs to get bad reviews from people who look weird or behave badly. But good reviews won't affect him either. For his first bad review, the system rewarded Yang Chen with 28% of the shares in the All Island Hotel Group, making him the second largest shareholder. He was shocked at how powerful the system was to grant such an incredible gift so easily. Along with this, he was also invited to the hotel for dinner to finalize the agreement. Just then, Yang received a new order, which was for the very hotel where he now held shares. Our boy is sure that this order was created specifically for him, so that he could pick up the agreement to receive shares, and he happily accepted. When he arrived at the pickup location, he saw a stunning, long-legged woman waiting. She confirmed he was her driver, got into the car, and slammed the door. Yang Chen started driving to the destination. When he looked in the rearview mirror, the girl angrily asked why he was spying on her. Our boy was a little confused and replied he wasn't looking at her but at the road behind. The beauty got angry when she heard this and called him inexperienced and slow. Irritated by her insult, Yang sped up the car. The sudden speed scared the girl, and she screams, "What are you doing?" As Yang drove even faster, the girl panicked and begged him to stop, and tried to calm him down by saying that she was wrong and asked him to stop. Ready to burst into tears, the beauty repeated that she was wrong. But our boy didn't even think about stopping and told the girl that she could leave alive if they didn't get into an accident, or he would let her go if she called him daddy. Unable to bear it, the girl burst into tears and stuttering called our boy daddy. Hearing this, Yang slowed down the car. They arrived at their destination, the All Island Hotel, and Yang told her she could leave. The girl was trembling as she got out and angrily threatened to leave a bad review and call the police. Suddenly, a message appeared in front of him, saying he had completed a mission. As a reward, the system gave him ownership of Xing Financial Company. Our boy was very happy about this news because this is the same company in which he previously worked, and he could finally deal with his old boss. Feeling confident, Yang went inside the hotel for his meeting about the transfer of shares. At the reception, he saw the same girl from the car. When she noticed him, she looked shocked and confused. She says, "How dare you follow me?" With a satisfied grin, our boy replied that her father is here to take care of a business and moved on. He showed the message on his phone to the employee, who gave him a document about the agreement for share transfer. A hotel staff member led him to his table, while the woman from the taxi watched him angrily, thinking that she would never forgive him. At the table, the employee brought him coffee and said his food would be ready soon. As Yang sipped his coffee, he noticed the passenger girl walking past. She shook hands with the man at the next table, and they started talking. Yang realized they were on a blind date. Just then, the door opened and 3 people walked in, a short, baldy man and 2 beauties. Noticing our boy, the blonde told companion she knew him. She walked over to greet him, but her friendly expression changed as she reached his table. The blonde angrily asked Yang why he was there, reminding him that he had broken up with Faye and told him to stop following her. Yang calmly replied that he wasn't desperate enough to chase women like them, and added that he felt sorry for them if they were not ashamed of having an affair with men over 40. Hearing this, the blonde gets angry and slammed the table. The noise caught the attention of the baldy, who asked what was going on. The blonde smiled innocently and told him everything was fine, and asked him to move on. The man didn't believe her. He and Faye came closer. Showing off his expensive watch, he asked Yang who he was. Yang smirked and said he was Faye's ex, adding that they had just broken up today, and also asked how long they had been sleeping together. Suspicious, the man touched Faye's face and asked if it was true. With tears in her eyes, Faye claimed they had broke up long time ago and accused Yang of following and harassing her, even showing up at the hotel uninvited. The man smiled and asked her not to cry anymore. He'll sort everything out. He came close to the table and told our boy that he was annoyed by the harassment of his girlfriend. He asked a waitress to call the hotel manager. Faye approached Yang and asked him to leave, saying that he would be in trouble. And at the next table, the passenger who left a bad review thought to herself that the situation had reached the point of absurdity, and that our boy would no longer be able to get out. The guy sitting with her noticed where she was looking, and asked if she knew our boy, and she replied that he was just a taxi driver who brought her here. She began to complain that the driver had a terrible character, and he almost killed the girl, so she left a bad review about him. The guy got angry when he heard this. He stood up and promised the girl that he would teach the driver a lesson. The girl tried to stop him, but the guy was already at the table where our boy was sitting. The man asked angrily if Yang had brought Miss Wang to the hotel and mocked her while they were driving. Yang remained calm and replied, "Yes, what's the problem?" The man introduces himself as Mr. Zhang and says he's on a date with this girl. If our boy apologizes to her, he'll let this matter go. If not, he'll throw him out. Yang took a sip of his coffee and asked about Zhang's father. With a smirk, Zhang replied, "My father is the chairman of an investment company. He plans to invest in All Island Hotel, and if he says the word, our boy will be blacklisted." Our boy leaned back in his chair, says, "All right, let's see you do it." Just then, the hotel manager arrived and went straight to the baldy man and asked why he didn't inform him that he was coming. Then he notices Mr. Zhang and greets him. The baldy man approached the manager with a complaint that he had come to the hotel to celebrate a girl's birthday, but her ex was bothering them and asked him to kick him out. The other guy quickly got involved, saying that our boy was bullying the girl he was on a date with and also asked to kick him out. The manager asked who was so reckless as to anger both of them. The man and the guy pointed to our hero, who continued to calmly drink his coffee. Seeing him, the manager became nervous as he immediately recognized that this was a new shareholder about whom he had recently been informed. The manager quickly made a decision and ordered the security to throw the man and the guy out and forbid them to come to the hotel again. Both men did not believe what just happened and reminded the manager that the guy was from the family of the future investor, and the other man was the hotel's food supplier. The manager leaned toward our boy and introduced him as the second largest shareholder of the All Island Hotel. The baldy and the two girls with him didn't believe it and asked again in surprise. The passenger girl was also shocked, thinking he must be rich to act so arrogantly. Young told the manager that the baldy and the other guy were no longer needed and asked to have them kicked out. Seeing this, Faye started to regret leaving our boy and started apologizing. She knelt before him, begging for forgiveness, saying that nothing had happened between her and the man. The blondie pushed Faye aside, calling her a gold digger, and asked her to look at her, calling herself pure. But our boy wasn't interested in either of them and could tell they were about to fight. Meanwhile, the baldy tried to explain himself to our boy. The baldy claimed he didn't know Faye was already dating him and insisted he had no intention of causing trouble. Annoyed, our boy turned to the manager and asked why those people were still there. The manager quickly called security, instructing them to throw out the man and the girls. As security dragged them away, the girl desperately begged to Yang, while the man shouted that it was all a misunderstanding. Leaning closer to Yang, the manager mentioned that Zhang was the son of the chairman of an investment company. But our boy says, "While I'm here, you don't need their investments." He ordered the manager to blacklist Zhang and banned him from ever entering the hotel again. Zhang screamed not to touch him and asked Miss Wang to eat somewhere else. As they walk away, Yang noticed that Zhang liked Miss Wang and decided to take her away from him so that he would no longer be proud of himself. He stood up from the table and called out to Miss Wang. Our boy picked a flower from a vase and handed it to the girl, apologizing for his joke on the way to the hotel, and invited her to sit down and chat at his table. The girl stopped, thinking, since this is a blind date, maybe she should stay with someone who is more influential. The girl approached our boy, giving him a chance to date her. Zhang lost his temper and started yelling at the girl, asking if she knows what she's doing and that this whole situation only happened because he decided to protect her. But the girl replied that he did it only for himself and that she did not ask him to stand up for her and start a fight. Zhang starts threatening the girl, but our boy walks closer to the girl and puts his hand on her shoulder, telling her that everything is okay. With the sweetest smile, the guy sat the girl down at the table and promised that if this fly Zhang gave her any trouble, he would sort it out. But Jang could not calm down and tried to hit the girl. Our boy grabs the hand before it could harm the girl and says with an angry face, "How dare you try to beat a woman?" The manager and security guards immediately arrived and ordered the guy to be kicked out of the hotel. Jang did not let go, promising to tell his dad everything and that he would definitely deal with them. Our boy filled the glasses with red wine and handed it to Miss Wang and introduced himself. The girl also introduced herself and promised to delete the bad review in order to start all over again. Yang smiled and asked to leave the review as a memory of the beginning of their first meeting. They started to enjoy, and the man and woman at the next table, watching the whole commotion, and thought that it was good to be rich. The girl asked what Yang's family does with a smile on her face. The guy said that his parents died a couple of years ago, and that now he is a taxi driver. The girl in turn said that she is from a small town and works in a luxury store. She wants to stay in the city, so she is forced to go on blind dates. Our boy was impressed by the girl's sincerity, saying that every person strives for a better life, and such aspirations are not shameful. The girl was pleased with the guy's understanding and offered him another drink. The girl took several large sips of wine and her cheeks began to blush. The girl admitted why she behaved badly in the taxi. It turned out that she had 2 dates, and on the first, the guy took her to the cinema where he tried to kiss her. Yang thought that the girl behaved this way because she didn't like the guy, to which she says how one could kiss on the first date. After hearing the girl out, Yang stood up and slowly began to move closer to the girl while she watched him intently. Our boy leaned in towards the girl, and before she could say a word, he quickly kissed to her lips, then walked off, mentioning that he was staying in room 1280. The girl found herself confused. Why hadn't she resisted when he kissed her? And why had he told her his room number? Was it an invitation, or was she just overthinking? Meanwhile, our hero arrived at his room. He had took a shower after such a hard day and wrapped a towel around his hips and walked into the room. Suddenly, he heard a knock, and without getting dressed, our boy opened the door and saw Miss Wang standing there. As soon as Yang opened the door, he barely had time to react before the girl pressed herself against him, capturing his lips in a passionate kiss. Taken by surprise, he hesitated for a moment before she pulled away. Her face flushed as she met his gaze, struggling to find the right words to explain her actions. All the girl could say was that she was feeling very hot, her hands touching her chest. In that moment, Yang realized that the girl was drunk. The girl touched his naked torso with her fingers, enjoying his abs, and realized that she couldn't hold back. Our hero took the girl in his arms and carried her to the bed, warning her that she should not blame him for what was happening. He pressed his lips into hers, from which the girl could not stand it, and moaned, hugging his neck. Their bodies were covered only by a carelessly thrown blanket. The next day at the same all-island hotel, our boy woke up and saw that the girl had already left without saying goodbye. He stands up and throws back the blanket. Then he noticed a red mark left on the white sheets, showing that the girl gave him her first time. Our boy was taken aback, not believing his eyes. He looked at the table next to the bed and saw a note and an envelope with money there. In the note, the girl said that she would return next month when she get her salary to put him to bed again. But in the meantime, she asked the guy to rest and gain strength. Yang thinks that this girl is quite interesting. Our boy arrived at the Xing Financial Building, which he received as a gift after the second bad review. He introduced himself to the guy at the entrance and said that he had come to pick up his things. The guy happily shook hands with our boy and introduced himself as the office manager and said that he would now prepare everything. 2 office workers who were watching this began to whisper that the new boss was very young and wondered whether there would be changes after his arrival. The manager handed our boy a folder. He said that the documents were inside and asked him to check them. Young did not test them, saying that he trusts the manager and that he would need his help in running the company. The manager was pleased with his trust and called over 2 female employees nearby to greet the new owner. The women bowed and exchanged greetings, after which our boy suggested that everyone return to work. He then asked the manager about the people renting the 15th floor. The manager sat at his computer and looked for the information. He informed our boy that the lease for the boss renting the 15th floor was set to expire at the end of the month. Young then suggested that they visit the floor to discuss the rental situation. As they took the elevator up, the manager received a phone call. The manager said other tenants were calling him, and Young said he would go first so the guy could answer the call. Upon reaching the 15th floor, he entered the office and instead of greeting, he said, "Hey, it seems that everything is in place," surprising his former colleagues with his appearance. A colleague wearing glasses approached him and suggested that he speak with the boss and manager to get his job back, but our hero refused. Yang shouted to his former boss to stop hiding and come out to talk to him. A bald man appeared behind him and asked why he was shouting. With contempt, our hero says, "You came out, I thought you would be too scared to come out," and asks about his commission. The boss offers to pay $10,000 for 10 months if our boy makes 1 deal a month. But Yang disagrees and reminds him that he was promised 20% for the successful contract. The boss laughs and asks, "Where's the evidence for this agreement?" and adds that he can tell about other agreements, for example, that our boy promised to work for free. Yang turns to the employees and asks if they have heard this. The bald man looks angrily at his subordinates and asks who heard that he promised to pay commissions. One of his colleagues says that he has not heard this and most likely Yang misheard. Our boy is surprised at the lack of understanding of his colleagues because their boss can do the same to them. A former colleague advises Yang to apologize to his boss and return to his job as soon as possible. The boss also invites the guy to return to work and recognize his talent and says that he is going to go downstairs to talk about rent. Our hero picks up the phone and says that he has recorded everything and will complain against him. The boss, seeing the phone, shouts to his employees to quickly close the door. Some hypocritical subordinates closes the door. The manager behind the door is talking on the phone, and seeing that the door is closing, he begins to worry about our boy. The boss says that if Yang deletes the recording, he will let him go. The boss throws his monitor to the floor with force, smashing it into pieces, and says that it was our boy who broke the computer and that its cost will be deducted from his salary. But Yang points to the phone in his hand and reminds him that the recording is still on, which makes the baldy more furious. One of the colleagues, who has been sucking up to the boss all this time, rolls up his sleeves and suggests beating our hero, then deleting the recording. Suddenly there is a knock on the door. The bald man opens the door, behind which the manager is standing, and asks in surprise why he personally came to them. He was to come down to him himself. The manager says that he came here from Mr. Yang and asks why he locked the door in the middle of the working day. The man doesn't understand which Mr. Yang the manager is talking about. The manager points to our boy, saying that he is Mr. Yang, the new owner of the company, shocking the baldy with this news. The manager quickly approaches our boy, worried that something has happened to him, and complains that he shouldn't have answered the call. But our boy says that he arrived just in time. The baldy still doesn't believe what he heard and asks, what does he mean by saying that Mr. Yang is the new boss? The manager reports that our boy has paid $2 billion and is now the owner of this building. The boss and employees are shocked to hear this. They do not understand why Yang worked here, and where he got the money from, and why he bought this building. A mean colleague checks with the manager to see if this is true about our boy, thinking that he might have made a mistake. The manager shouts at a colleague, "Do you really think that I don't even know who's in charge here?" The boss changes his attitude, shakes our boy's hand, and admits that he did wrong and must be punished for his action. The baldy offers to double our hero's salary in order to forget about this misunderstanding. The manager overhears the conversation and asks if Yang really worked here and that he wasn't paid. The manager turns to the boss, reminding him that the lease states that they must follow the rules, otherwise the contract will be broken and they can demand triple the rent. Our boy smiles and plays a recording for the manager where the boss offers him to work for free. The baldy asks our boy to forget about the past and is willing to pay 3 times the commission to settle the situation, but our boy says that he only wants his own and doesn't need anything extra. He waves goodbye, leaving the manager in charge of resolving the issue with his own ways. The bald man shouts to the guy, "Wait," but our boy refuses. The boss turns to his subordinates and offers $50,000 if they help him. Everyone sits silently in their places. No one wants to help him. The baldy offers twice as much if they take our boy's phone. Yang laughingly asks if the boss really thinks that any of his colleagues will believe him after what happened to him. Looking at the situation from the outside, the manager asks for security to come to the 15th floor as soon as possible. 10 minutes later, 2 people came to the 15th floor. 2 girls from the first floor do not understand why they were called to the 15th floor and are worried about our boy. The manager points to a bald man surrounded by security guards and asks who would dare touch Mr. Yang. The baldy was so nervous that he was sweating from his face. Our boy leaves everything to the manager, and he assures him that he will do everything. Yang turns to his colleagues, offering to take what they deserve before their boss goes bankrupt. Colleagues began to complain that the boss did not pay overtime and forced them to make dubious contracts. Subordinates, who recently wanted to beat up our hero, suddenly says that he always hated the boss, but was afraid to say something against him. Yang watches his mean colleague get angry. Our boy turns to his colleagues and says that he plans to open an advertising agency, offering them jobs. Colleagues are happy that they really want to work for Yang and his new company. Our boy looks at the very colleague who wanted to beat him up and kicks him out, not intending to work with him. The colleague falls to his knees and says that he is ready to help him in the trial of his former boss. But our boy says that he sees no point in working with someone who was his former boss's faithful dog. Kicking him hard, our hero drives him away. Yang transfers control of the new company to his former colleague Susie and asks everyone to take half a month off and contact her with any questions. Susie became worried, telling Yang that she had no experience and was afraid of ruining everything. But our boy consoles her and says that these are normal feelings. The girl perked up and promised to do everything in her power. All his colleagues bowed and thank him for everything he has done for them in the last hour. The guys warmly say goodbye to our hero. And again, our hero finds himself in the parking lot of the company, saying, "I'm done here. It's time to get to work." He accepts a new order, which is located 500 meters away from him. He rushed forward to a new order. Two people are already waiting for him on the street, a guy and a girl. Our hero takes a closer look and recognizes the girl as his former classmate. The girl opens the door and they sit in the back seat of the car. The girl recognizes Yang and greets him joyfully, and our boy wonders who she is walking with. The girl replied that this was her boyfriend and introduced our hero, saying that he was the best student at the college. The guy looked at him asking if he was popular among the girls. The girl replied that he was very popular and regretted that our boy already had a girlfriend. She asked him if they had broken up yet or if they were going to get married. Our boy says that they had already broken up. The girl asked if he regrets that he turned down so many girls at the college, but Yang doesn't want to talk about this issue now. The girl clung to her boyfriend and said that she doesn't regret it at all, because thanks to this, she doesn't live such a miserable life, hinting that our boy is just a driver. The girl said that our boy not only rejected her, but also humiliated her. Yang said he no longer remembers what he said back then, and if it was rude, he apologizes. The girl's boyfriend offered him to quit his job as a taxi driver and join his company, seeing how sincere he was. The girl was happy to hear this offer, and said that her boyfriend works in an advertising company. But Yang immediately rejected his offer and said that he liked working as a taxi driver. The girl then asked him to quickly turn on the air conditioning, since it was very hot in the car. But our boy refused, saying that the order didn't include an air conditioner. The guy in the back seat shouted that if it weren't for his girlfriend, he wouldn't have been so nice to a driver, and demanded to turn on the air conditioner right away. The girl tried to calm her boyfriend, worried that he might distract the driver and get into an accident. The girl said that they are old friends, and if our boy turns on the air conditioner, she will forget about everything and will not give a bad review. But our boy calmly replied that he's not afraid of a bad review. The guy in the back seat screamed to stop the car. Yang slammed on his brakes and stopped the car. The guy got out of the car and kicked the door and asked our boy to fight him. But our boy had no intention of going out, and he drove away, wishing the couple to enjoy the sun. The guy ran after our hero, waving his fists, but he failed to catch up with the car. Under the scorching sun, the guy instantly began to sweat and asked his girlfriend where they were. They looked around and realized that they were on the bridge and there was no way to call a taxi here. The guy took out the phone from his pocket and filed a complaint, hoping that our boy would get fired after this. Our boy was driving when he received a message from the system, informing him that he received $2 million for a new bad review. After such heat, suddenly it started raining. But our hero continued to work, and upon arriving at his destination, he called the passenger. In response, the girl asked, how will she get to the car in such rain? And our hero asked to wait for her on the spot. He took out an umbrella, ran up to the girl. He asked if she was his passenger. The girl said yes and stated that there was a lot of water on the ground and she could not walk on it. The girl pointed to her shoes, said that they were very expensive and she didn't want to ruin them, and in general, many would want to carry her in their arms. But Yang only suggested taking an umbrella and walking to the car on her own. The girl snatched the umbrella from the guy's hands, calling him stupid. She opened her umbrella and finally walked to the car herself. In the car, she began to threaten our boy, saying that she would give him a bad review if he behaved like that again, and our guy asked her to buckle up. The rain gets heavy and our boy said that they had arrived, and the girl started talking again about how she couldn't walk on water, otherwise she'd get her shoes dirty. Our boy explained to the girl that it's a car, not a helicopter, and couldn't go any further. The girl refused to listen to the guy and promised to leave him a bad review if he didn't bring her closer. Our boy said that he didn't care, but the girl refused to get out of the car. Without hesitation, our boy turned off the car. He took an umbrella and got out of the car, saying that the girl could stay there. Our boy waved his hand, walking away from the car. The girl went out into the rain, promising to sue our hero. He got back into his car and started the engine, not paying attention to the girl. While driving away, the guy deliberately drove into a puddle, splashing the girl with water. As always, a girl in a Chinese dress suddenly appeared in the car, announcing that for a new bad review, he was receiving a reward, tea from the mother tree. Our boy asked why there was so little tea, only 50 grams, and the girl replied that it's a very expensive tea. The price of tea is so high that it cannot be bought with money. Young was shocked at how expensive this tea was. Our hero got out of the car and took tea from the trunk. He was surprised at the price of tea, $10,000 for a small package. The smell of the tea was delicious, and since the guy had 50 packages, he decided to try one. A message from the system appears in front of him that he has received another bad review and that as a reward he receives a villa. The documents will soon be delivered by a courier. Calculating in his mind that the villa costs more than $500,000, the guy wonders who left him a bad review. After finishing his tea, Young put the mug back. A red-haired beauty in a short dress appears in front of his car. The girl jumped into the front seat, and the guy asked in confusion what she was doing. The girl took out money and said she was ready to pay. Our hero explained that online taxis work differently, and for the trip, she needs to place an order in the online service. The girl got angry and suggested that the guy just drive the car. She said that she wanted to ride this car today when a guy in shorts approached them. He knocked on the window and demanding that our hero open the door. The girl began to threaten our boy that if he opened the door, she would bite him to death. Yang asked if she knew the guy, and she said she didn't. Our boy asked the guy if they knew each other. The guy shouted in rage that she was his girlfriend. Of course they know each other. The girl replied, she's not his girlfriend, and that today they met for the first time on a blind date. The guy shouted that this was a lie and said that the girl's father owed him money, and the girl had to pay him back. The girl directly told our boy that if he gave her to this guy, he would become an accomplice. The guy on the street shouted that this was not our hero's business, and that he should open the door. Yang suggested that the girl should call the police because he didn't want to get into this mess. The girl started calling our boy an idiot who is of no use. Yang got angry and said that her father started this situation and he should deal with it, but he can only call the police. A guy on the street kicked the car from the passenger side. He started pulling on the door handle, shouting for the girl to come out, and she tried to shoo him away. The girl asked our hero to save her, but he insisted on calling the police. The girl said that even if the police were called, her family did not have money to give to the guy. The guy grabbed the girl by the hair through the window, trying to pull her out of the car. Pulling the girl towards him, the guy invited our boy to take them out of town where he would let him play with her too. Yang started the car. The guy on the street began to threaten our boy and promised that if they left, he would still find them. Yang stepped on the gas pedal, saying that he didn't care who he was. The car drove away and the guy continued to run after him, swearing at our hero. The guy walked to his car, preparing a plan for revenge. The car drove along the road and the girl did not stop thanking our boy, but he said that he was not interested in the girl. He would drop her off nearby so that she could call a taxi. Suddenly, a black car cut them off, blocking the path. The guy in the black car started threatening to kill our hero if he didn't stop. The girl was scared, because if he caught up with them, then she would definitely be finished. Yang grabbed the steering wheel, trying to avoid a collision and get away from the chase. A man in a black car was driving behind, but lost control and his car overturned. Turning around, the girl laughed because the pursuer crashed the car. Our hero pulled up to a stop and demanded that the girl immediately get out of the car. The girl straightened her fiery red hair and offered our boy to take her home. In return, she will give him her first time. And that's where this video ends. If you want to see the next part, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.